Double champ status is something shared by an elite few, but only one can be the first to do it. From his humble beginnings in Ireland, en route to becoming the biggest star in UFC history, no all-time roster would be complete without the notorious one, Conor McGregor.
In the electrifying realm of mixed martial arts, there exists a supernova of charisma and combat brilliance, the likes of which the sport has never seen before. The notorious Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor, by far the biggest prospect to come out of Ireland.
Upon his arrival into the UFC in 2013, the appeal of the brash Irishman was instantly apparent.
This is why everyone's been talking about Conor McGregor. It's all over!
60 G's, baby!
Lightning-fast strikes and unrivaled precision accompanied an almost divine ability to predict his finishes.
Just like that!
I don't just knock them out, I pick the round.
McGregor's impact transcends the octagon. He possesses an innate ability to stir the masses and draw legions of fans to watch his every move.
There's never been anything like this. Oh, big shot from McGregor, that's it!
With the eyes of the world upon him, McGregor carried the hopes of an entire nation on his back as he faced the featherweight king for his first shot at a UFC title.
Oh! He slapped him!
The result was as shocking as any that had ever taken place inside the world-famous octagon. The win vaulted McGregor's popularity to a new stratosphere, which he eventually parlayed into a history-making performance at Madison Square Garden.
It is all over! History has been made! 2 belts simultaneously.
The double champ does what the f he wants!
Attendance records, gate records, revenue records. McGregor shattered them all thanks to iconic performances and storied rivalries.
Surprise, surprise, the king is back! People are freaking out all over the world because this guy's fighting.
His charismatic presence redefined what it means to be a modern-day combat sports icon. He elevated the sport's global appeal and became a symbol of unyielding ambition. Put simply, Conor McGregor forever changed the game. And no Ultimate UFC roster is complete without the notorious Conor McGregor.
So the all-time roster opens its doors to one Conor McGregor. No surprise here. This man effectively changed the face of mixed martial arts. As big in this sport as any athlete is in any professional sport across the world. And Conor McGregor, one of 4 unanimous selections to the Ultimate 30.
Yeah, and he should be. You know, I remember watching Conor McGregor when he kind of came on board and we started fighting. And you had saw people before. And you're like, man, if the UFC can get this guy to a championship, they could be really special and be stars. But they never quite matched it up. They couldn't get there.
Where are
they?
And
then McGregor came. Yeah, then McGregor came. And you're like, man, if the UFC can get this kid to a championship, he could be a real superstar. But then he started winning. And you were like, wow, this guy's winning. And he's winning again, he's winning again. And all of a sudden, it was like he was on fire. And nobody could do anything with him.
And all of Ireland was in the stands.
It was nuts.
Was insane.
It was the first time that we actually dealt with someone that transcended the sport.
Yeah.
We had never had anyone. For as big as Anderson Silva was, and for as big as all these guys were, they never were quite like this kid, even before he was a champion.
Yeah, we could do 30 minutes just on his impact in his home nation alone, but his impact on the UFC was just absurd. Every big moment he seemed to shine in and called his shot, backed it up, and every step of the way.
I still remember being in the audience at the fight that was being promoted with Jose Aldo, and he ran across the stage and snatched the belt. And I mean, the things that he was saying to Jose Aldo, it was with a purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, he was absolutely looking to rile up Jose Aldo, to get him emotional for a purpose in the fight. He knew that he was gonna come out there and be reckless because he was gonna be too emotional. And I'll never forget that moment. Just absolutely starched Jose Aldo.
You know what's
insane.
You know what's crazy about that? When you get someone like Conor McGregor, who everything was going right for him, and it seemed like everything was playing to his favor, he becomes a bit of a villain. Especially when you're a champion, right? And you're like, well, why are they connecting with this guy and we're trying to do all the right things? So you waited for him to get he gonna get what's coming to him. But then it never happened. And then it seemed like it got bigger and bigger and bigger. I remember the first time he was on a prelim in Boston, and they shut all the lights off like he was in the main event. I was like, what the hell is happening here? It was like he had a main event walk on the prelims, and it was like, this dude got some favor, and then he wins. And then he beats Jose Aldo, and you're in the stands going, because reality is you're a little jealous. Like, you're a little jealous.
That's what I was saying. You were talking about it earlier. Like, man, if there was something to be jealous of, you know?
I want what this dude got. He about to get what's coming to him against Jose Aldo. And then fairy tale. And you're like, man, I don't know if I'm jealous of this dude no more. I think I kind of like him.
Joanna, you competed with him on a couple of huge pay-per-views.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like you said, he always planned everything, you know, moves, talks, the words, and he always delivers, you know, somehow.
But I think what was so special about him, too, was he would plan, but he also could do it off the fly. You know what I mean? Like in his conversations, like not everything was scripted, and I think that's what was so amazing. Like you didn't feel like somebody was writing for Conor McGregor or it was off the cuff. It was very much to who he was, who his brand, which was just massive.
He changed the game, and yeah, I was on like two or three cards, two cards at Madison Square Garden, and it was.
Oh, that was a big one.
It was.
Hey, look at that was a big one, Joanna. Joanna's like, oh my goodness, that was a big one.
No, it was good.
Yeah, UFC 205, UFC 217, effectively lining, you know, Jacek's pockets. Okay,
I was on that card with you too.
Yeah, it was. What's more important for me, the most important thing was being on the card in Madison Square Garden. Being on the card with Conor McGregor was even much bigger, you know, because I'm very proud of him as an European as well.
Sure.
You know?
So UFC 205, he beats Eddie Alvarez to become the first simultaneous two-division champion in UFC history. It's crazy to think this is his only lightweight win in the UFC, but man, did he maximize that moment.
He did. And it was like when you realize, like, if he hits you with the left hand, you're going to fall every time. Because all we knew of Eddie Alvarez was that he was insanely tough and he was insanely durable. But every time Conor touched him, it looked like he was getting hurt. I mean, this kid was showboating. This kid was so free in the moment. Now, one thing about Conor McGregor that gets overlooked a bit because of the superstardom and the power and the recognition and all those things is he really changed the thought process. Because before it was enough to just be the UFC champion.
Right.
Nobody ever thought about going up and doing it in a second weight class until he did it. So he made it possible for myself and Amanda and Henry Cejudo. Because nobody else did. You were afraid to go up. And then Conor did it, and he did it so spectacular. You're like, man, wait a minute. Maybe I could do that, right? And it creates these moments. And I was wondering why Joanna and Jacek walked in here kind of like she was walking slow. There's all that money holding her pockets down, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Surprised she didn't come in here crawling.
Right. So when it comes to Conor McGregor's legacy and all of these different moments and world tours and the master orator, Miesha, what was the seminal moment for you when it comes to Conor McGregor, the Jose Aldo knockout?
I mean, the Jose Aldo knockout is absolutely up there. I mean, it's undeniable. I mean, he folded him like clean laundry. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? And it was 13 seconds. There's no way I thought he was going to. I mean, Jose Aldo was bad.
He was the best.
He was the best. I mean, I didn't expect that whatsoever. And I'll give another hats off to when he fought Chad Mendes, because Chad Mendes was a former training partner of mine at Alpha Male. I knew it was a really solid wrestler. Now, granted, Chad did take it on short notice, but I thought, well, let's see what a different style. Nobody's been on Conor's legs like I know Chad Mendes will be. It wasn't the answer, though. I mean, he knocked him out, too, and that's when you really start to build credibility. He's fighting the best strikers and the best wrestlers, and he's starching everybody. You got to give credit where credit's due.
Sometimes we focus so much on the bravado and the persona that we don't talk about the worker. I remember being in Manila with Demetrius Johnson in 2015, and I brought up Conor McGregor, and he's like, dude, you don't even understand how good he is in terms of understanding space and distance management. Sure, the left hand, but the accuracy, the vision, the hard work, he's got a lot that we don't talk about because he's larger than life.
It's absolutely true, right? The fact that he can create space and distance, he's so aware in those moments. And I think what's underestimated is Conor's vision. He's got great eyes. That's why you would see him kind of skate out of the way of people. He had great footwork, and he had very good timing to land that left hand, and that's why he would hurt people. My moment for me is the Khabib fight, because I wasn't calling it. I was in the stands. I've never in my life, in the octagon, outside of the octagon, experienced anything like it. That place it was literally white hot. It was on fire. And I believe that Conor McGregor's star power has propelled him to these moments, but it's also his fighting ability. And that is why he got the opportunity to stand across from Floyd Mayweather. It's not just promotion that earns you that. Floyd had to respect his ability enough to say, I'm going to fight this guy. And Conor was not only a great promoter, he was also a great fighter.
When we highlighted Robbie Lawler, we talked about just the way he made the MMA masses feel when he was competing, right? Not necessarily first ballot Hall of Famer like yourself with double champ status, right? But the way he made you feel. And people ask me, do you get nervous when you're about to call a pay-per-view? And the answer is no. But when I'm packing my suitcase and Conor's fighting, I feel something different. There is just something indescribably different about preparing to call a fight when Conor McGregor's going to be involved. It's just a different thing.
You know what I think part of it is that it feels like he's already written the story. It's already written in the stars, and somehow he knows it. He calls it. He'll tell you, like he's playing pool, which ball he's going to put in, in which pocket. And MMA is such a wild sport. It's so chaotic, and there's so many possible outcomes. Yet he will tell you exactly what the outcome's going to be, and he's been right far more times than he's been wrong. And that's incredible. I mean, how are you going to tell your opponent how you're going to win? And then you do it.
It's crazy. You know, Joe Rogan said, I've never been more excited for a fight. When him and Khabib walked into the octagon, it was so true because everybody felt it. But it's not just that fight. It's every single time.
Superstars always seem to emerge, right? Sometimes fans will say, who's going to walk through that door now that Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey have retired? And then in walks Israel Adesanya and Sugar Sean O'Malley. But this man's ability to captivate the masses with his mouth, with his fighting style. And I think the crowning jewel, the capstone, really, for me, the Jose Aldo fight, of course, but the rivalry with Nate Diaz, right? These were some of the biggest moments for us as sports fans. Like, I was getting anxiety as if I was fighting, and I was not competing.
I don't know if anything speaks to how special he is that everybody that can beat him, now not just fighting him, if you can beat him, your level of stardom goes to 10. From Khabib, when he beat him, Khabib went from 2 million Instagram followers to 10 million overnight. Dustin Poirier. Overnight, they're gaining millions and millions of followers, and their presence in the sport is so much bigger. Nate Diaz still is a bigger star today because he got that submission victory over Conor. Dude, Conor McGregor is, I don't think we'll ever see anything like it again.
Yeah. All right, well, congratulations to the one, the only, the notorious Conor McGregor, making the all-time roster here on The Ultimate 30.